Right now, it's not clear if anybody was injured, how the fire started, or if everybody got out okay. Fox 2 has a crew on the scene working to learn more. Make sure you stay with us online and on air for updates.
And earlier this evening, a patient and paramedic caught up in a wild police chase in Oakland County.
Officers say someone stole the ambulance, then crashed while everyone was still inside. Fox 2's Dave Kitchen has the latest.
Well, to call this a wild scene certainly is an understatement. I'm standing at 10 Mile and Novi Road where all of this began, but let's go upstairs to Sky Fox, give you the aerial view of all of this here. This taking place around 3:30 this afternoon. Police say a MedStar EMS team was treating multiple people after a crash, including a person whose car actually rolled over. Investigators say the driver of the at-fault car then jumps into the ambulance and takes off with the rollover victim and a paramedic in the back the whole time. Novi cops chasing it down Novi Road toward 8 Mile through a construction zone. Now get this, police tell us that ambulance got up to 70 miles per hour at one point and crossed into Northville Township, where it slammed into another car at Beck in 8 Mile, catching the ambulance on fire. A 72-year-old was hit and suffered shoulder and rib injuries. Here's how police are describing it.
One of our firefighters said, hey, they just stole the ambulance, and one of our officers jumped into his cruiser and engaged in a pursuit with the ambulance, which is, something you don't really hear much every day, right? I know that they were on the phone with our 911 communication center, letting them know they were in the back of the ambulance, and, expressing their concern.
Well, amazingly and thankfully, none of the injuries are life-threatening. That includes the 27-year-old man from Novi, according to police, who got into that ambulance and stole it. We're told also that the original patient from that first crash, who was in there the whole time with the paramedic, they also were not seriously hurt. Investigators say they're trying to figure out what the motive was, whether there may have been a mental health issue at play here. They're looking to see if drugs or narcotics may have been a factor. So far, they say they don't believe alcohol played a factor in all of this. As for that ambulance that, of course, caught fire, we're told it is a total loss. The investigation continues. Dave Kinchin and Novi on the Edge.
Breaking news tonight out of our nation's capital. At least 5 people shot near Howard University. All are expected to survive. This is homecoming weekend. None of the victims are students or faculty. 4 are adults, 1 teen. 1 suspect is under arrest. Officers recovered 3 guns.
He couldn't identify, if you will, what that money was transferred for.
A Warren police officer in big trouble tonight. He's accused with embezzling from a youth law enforcement program. Officer Jack Barnes is accused of stealing somewhere between $200 and $1,000 from the nonprofit Police Explorer program, which mentors young people interested in careers in policing. He pleaded not guilty. His job status will be determined at a later hearing. Well, their alleged actions on and off the court setting them up for a court date.
Pistons legend Chauncey Billups, one of the former NBA players caught up in a crazy gambling scheme. Now former Eastern Michigan players are under the scope of investigators.
3 former men's basketball players at Eastern Michigan University refused to cooperate in an NCAA probe into sports betting after sports books flagged suspicious betting during 3 of their games last season. Jalen Billingsley, Deshaun Nelson, and Jalen Terry no longer don the Eagles uniform, allowed the NCAA to analyze their phones, then punted participation in the investigation, asking that any evidence from those phones be destroyed. No punishment levied because the trio was not eligible to play anymore. This on the heels of a separate criminal investigation involving former Pistons player Chauncey Billups and others, and the mafia was involved.
The mafia's role was essentially security and enforcement. The allegation is that if these victims didn't pay their debts, then the mafia was going to come after them.
Former U.S. Attorney Matthew Schneider weighs in, saying there are 2 federal investigations announced this week, one involving throwing NBA games and another with an elaborate poker scheme.
We'll be living with this for years because this will drag out. People still have to decide if they're going to cooperate or not. Some of these people might go to trial, and then there's an appeal. So that really could take 5 years or more.
As part of the NCAA investigation, they're looking at 13 athletes at 6 schools for alleged gambling violations.
Police in Hazel Park searching for burglars. They're breaking into vacant homes and, we're told, stealing appliances, refrigerators, stoves, washers, dryers, and much more, all gone. In at least one case, they broke the lockbox to get it. Crooks hitting at least 5 homes.
I've never had that happen before, and I couldn't believe that. I was trying to process it at the same time, make sense out of it. Like, how did this happen, and when did this happen, and who did it, and was it somebody I let in? Was it somebody that I had working on the house?
You just hate to see stuff like that going on. I mean, it's such a small community, and I feel like the police, there's a very big presence around here. Like, you can't go around the block without seeing one, so it's surprising that it's happening here, and hopefully, you know, they do something to stop it.
Of course, if any of you have any information, please call Hazel Park Police.
Doves flying in honor and remembrance of domestic violence victims. It happened this morning outside Detroit Police Headquarters as part of a Domestic Violence Awareness Month event. People then walked to the Rosa Parks Transit Center, then back. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, more than 12 million women and men fall victim to rape, physical violence, or stalking every single year.
There are people here to walk with you in your journey and to listen, come out and be in support groups and listen to other people who have powerful testimonies and know that there is hope and that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that they're not alone. That's the most important thing, that they are not alone.
If you or anyone you know needs help, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline anytime, 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-SAFE.
Nearly 1.4 million Michigan residents will see their food assistance stop next month if the federal government shutdown continues.
That's the word from state health officials. The uncertainty causing more people to call pantries like CARES in Farmington Hills. CARES serves 8 cities overall, and while they don't rely on federal dollars directly, CARES says some of the vendors they buy food from have taken hits with funding cuts. That's making it harder to keep the shelves filled for those in need.
You know, the biggest thing is when you start to see dollars being cut in some of the federal programs where, like TFAB, you know, that's been cut. So things like that start to hurt us because that's food that we can give our families. But, you know, the other part is when you start to see this kind of changes in the economy, people start to hold back. And what we're asking people to do is to think about what can you give, what can you do.
Just last month, CARES says they served more than 800 families, some of their highest numbers on record.
It's being called the crown jewel of Detroit's riverfront, and people got a sneak peek of what you can check out yourself tomorrow morning. Yes, Ralph C. Wilson Park, featuring 4 unique zones of fun.
Yeah, there's a playground, water garden, sport house, and grassy open area ready to welcome folks of all ages. The project, 8 years in the making, transforming the Old West Riverfront Park into a sprawling 22-acre space. Organizers are breaking it in with the Detroit Harvest Fest, featuring live music, food, and activities all weekend.
The event runs from 11 to 8 Saturday and Sunday. Weather Authority Rich Luderman joining us. Rich, what do we think for the weather?
Ladies, it's going to be dry this weekend. It's just going to be cool. This cool pattern continues, and you can see no big storms coming our way. We're seeing breaks in the clouds, especially off in the western suburbs. So where it's clear, it's colder. Where it's cloudy, it's still in the 40s. You'll see the numbers coming up. We're still watching Tropical Storm Melissa slowly gathering strength. It looks like there is going to be a landfall sometime early next week for Jamaica and for eastern Cuba. That is not a good thing. Let me show you the numbers for us. 52 and 41. It was cool today. We had sunshine early on, but then the clouds took over. 36 in Jackson, 37 Port Huron, 48s for Detroit and Windsor. But all of us are going to see numbers falling through the rest of tonight. Thankfully, there's not a lot of wind out there, but a lot of blue on the map. Chilly around Chicago in the Sioux. There's Columbus, Ohio, 43 degrees. High pressure keeps us dry. really into the middle part of next week. So no big storms in the forecast, and you'll see that in the 70. Chilly tonight. On average, we're down to 36. Tomorrow, sun and clouds, a good-looking Saturday, but still cool. Remember, it's always good when the sun is out to go drive and see some of the great fall colors of southern Michigan. Right there, the 7-day forecast. No real rain chances until we get to next Wednesday, and it will be chilly inside Spartan Stadium for football tomorrow evening. How about a full check starting tomorrow morning? Jess, Taryn, back to you.
Thanks so much, Rich. Well, an Oakland County husband excited as he drove his wife to the hospital to have a baby, but that baby didn't want to wait.
Nope, the mom going into labor on the side of M59 in Auburn Hills. The ambulance arrived, and in just minutes, so did that baby.
Very quick, like in 5 minutes, baby, it's out.
We had already seen baby's head coming out. It was just a couple of pushes after that, and we heard a first cry. We let Dad cut the cord. It was a very nice moment. I will admit, I do cry a little bit when I deliver a baby. It's just a beautiful moment. As long as it's a healthy baby and mom's doing fine, it's really one of the best feelings you can have as a paramedic.
We are so glad, we are so happy because he born in on M59 on exit mile marker 41, so it's a story to tell him when he growing up.
The baby, a big boy, Bessa Monet, is 10 pounds 7 ounces. Woo! And healthy mom. She's doing well. That's a big baby.
Hey, you want it out? You want it out? He said no more. I'm cooked.
All right, back to a story that we've been following this evening. Continuing breaking news out of Southgate, where a fire is tearing through a senior living facility. You're looking at pictures from Sky Fox above the American House. That's near the corner of Allen Road and Pennsylvania.
Fire crews from multiple cities have been on the scene since around 10 p.m. at this hour. No word on any injuries or whether anyone is trapped. We will be sure to follow this story on air and online. Make sure you tune in and check out fox2detroit.com. But you can see that fire is raging right now.